Right, recording. Right, we'll start off with this present, will we?
Right, okay. Can I just mention though, he dropped this on me yesterday whilst I was running
I've been
about
doing
my
that.
day.
I said this to Chris, the last guy that was on. I don't want to ask people I don't know to buy me something, mate. It's really weird. So I send a wee nervous fucking voice message.
Yeah, I can tell you were nervous. I'm like, mate, it's sound. But you were like, no, it was when you were like, oh, if you want to buy me something expensive, like, that's fine. But I was just like,
I'm waiting for somebody to buy me a car.
right.
Right, what have we got?
I've got 2 secrets to my success. We packing multivitamins.
Oh,
They're busy and it's good to get them in. And then
definitely.
these things, because they're the best thing ever, brunch bars.
I've
Try
never
to build
had.
muscle.
Yeah,
Buy them.
I've never tried a brunch bar in my life. What's it? Multivitamin.
Poundland.
Ah, that'll do, mate.
Yeah.
I like tried them, but see, to be honest, see with vitamins, like I'll go for a month of being like taking it all the time, and then I forget to do it.
Well, for me, it's just like, and it's probably the most boring chat ever to start a podcast. But I'm so busy all the time that I always forget.
I'll
like,
take one just now.
Just to be safe.
Get it out.
No, it's just like we're running about and being busy. Sometimes like we're cooking that I forget to like get the things that I need. So I'm just like, that does it for me. Get in, get it sorted.
Why the fuck did you ask what size of clothes it was?
Because I was gonna go and get you a top, but then I looked at the tops in Poundland and I was like, even I'm not that Shan. I'll leave that. I'll get something to do with health to be relative to the podcast.
It's like I'm gonna have to get my top off, and I'm like,
No.
I'm on a cut and I'm 3.5 kilos down, but I'm just doing like a mini cut. So I used to just try to get lean all the time. So I'm like fully committing to like I get a wee bit fat every now and then and just rein it in.
Yeah, as long as you know how to get rid of it, that's what matters.
It just tastes weird.
I bet they taste rank. It's because they're laced with tren.
Tren, is it?
Yeah.
Is that what the secret is? Poundland. Talk to me about, have you applied for an Australian visa? I cut you off because I do that to people.
It's fine. Yeah, I actually just got it granted this morning. So basically, because
They let anyone in, mate.
Sorry, yeah, they will. Honestly, I was like, I thought, no, there's no way anyone's checked that in about 30 seconds between me pressing that button and getting it. But yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Where are you gonna go?
So it's me and my girlfriend are looking to go. It's kind of a rough game plan. Head to Sydney and then gonna spend like a month just enjoying that, going up the Gold Coast and stuff like that. Then head to Melbourne, and that'll be where we like set up shop, because it's really good for our job opportunities, and you know I want to do 1-to-1 PDT there as well, so I think it's a good spot. And then it'll just be wee trips out west and stuff like that. There, that'll be like home.
I'd done like 18 months in Melbourne.
Yeah,
but I'd actually done. I moved to Melbourne, like didn't leave.
Really?
Mate, I loved it. Like loved it so much. The only thing that was bad about it was the winters shite.
Yeah.
So when are you going? November or something?
Yeah, it'll be. So it's gonna be after. I'm gonna spend a wee bit of time in New Zealand after the powerlifting competition, and then it'll probably be like mid-December. I'll go.
So my only thing I would say is, see, after about mid-April, don't stay in Melbourne.
Right.
Like
okay.
just move somewhere else. Even if you want to come back to Melbourne, like Melbourne from May to September it's freezing, and it's like it's the same weather as here, but it's maybe like 8 degrees warmer, but it's still shite. Like early nights, windy and wet, like when everybody leaves. So all your mates that you'll meet that are probably from here, because you'll probably meet more Aussies because you'll be into powerlifting and stuff. But all my mates were like either Scottish or Northern Irish. Like everyone kind of leaves. So from April onwards, it's just go somewhere else. Even if you go well up north, go to Sydney's winter isn't anywhere near as bad.
Yeah, because my flatmate Dylan, he came back because of lockdown, but he said like Sydney's winter really wasn't that bad. It was like here a wee bit warmer, but it was
like summer here.
Yeah, well, here it's summer. Yeah.
But yeah, why did you decide Melbourne?
Well, it's mainly because of my girlfriend. She works in events, and there's a lot of things going on in Australia at that time. And Melbourne's kind of like the working hub of Australia. It's where everything happens. And I think it's just best for her. Plus, for me, I'm quite a free birdie. I don't really mind. I'm just like, look, if you want to go there, I'll go there.
I've seen you, mate. You look as if you've been everywhere like the last year. You're on camels and all that in Egypt, and then fucking all sorts.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a wild one. After lockdown, I felt really trapped in lockdown. I had to just like set myself free. So in like the start of the year was mental, and I was prepping for the Scottish Championships while doing it all. But I went to Egypt, I went to Italy, I went to Budapest. Before that, back in last year, I went to Dubrovnik in Croatia. And yeah, I just kind of went about. And in between that, I was going to Liverpool for a client's competition. I was going to Manchester for a competition. And it was just all a bit crazy. And it was hard to manage, but it was good fun. It was good.
How was Dubrovnik?
It was class. It was really good fun. I went last October and I just went myself.
Oh, really?
And it was quite, I met so many nice people. Place is beautiful. It was interesting with the weather. I got like scorching weather, but one day it was literally like a monsoon had hit the place. And I was walking to the gym in my sliders and the water was like up to my ankles. It was hilarious.
Do you like meet people when you're over these places? Or you just like try to go and see what happens?
Like I say, I'm a very relaxed person, and like my first solo trip was to LA in 2020, which was quite a random one, but I always want to go and see it. So no, not 2020, 2019 or 2018, one of the two. So I'm quite confident in myself. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just go and see what happens. And then after that, I was like, this solo traveling is way better because I was looking at it and my girlfriend was going away to Greece with her friends. And I didn't really have anyone to go anywhere with because it was all different reasons. I didn't really want to go on like just like a lad's holiday. So fuck it, I'll just go myself. I'm not waiting about for anyone else. So after doing that, like went to Dubrovnik, met people there, really, really sound folk. And I think you just go and helps being Scottish. Being Scottish always helps.
Yeah, because it gives you like distinct, like people can hear your accent straight away.
Plus like pasty white, ginger hair, ginger beard. You start talking and people kind of gravitate towards you a wee bit.
I always said that in Australia. It's like, yeah, people like Irish people, but there was that many of them there that nobody gives a fuck anymore. So like they're all in their Gaelic tops and all that, whereas Glasgow accents are a bit more niche. So people are actually interested. They also try like Aussies are the most Aussies are like Americans in the way that they.
Right, did they put me off?
You get this. You'll get asked if you're Scottish or Irish every single day. Like every day you're there, you'll get asked that. And also, what they try to do is they try out Scottish you.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought only Americans did that.
Nah, Aussies do it, and they'll also. I think one of the most infuriating things, and it happened like multiple times, was they'd be like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'd be like, Glasgow, because I'm always quite like, I've never say Scotland, I'm just like Glasgow, because I'm like, if you don't fucking know where Glasgow is, fuck you. Do you know what I mean? Don't tell me you don't know what Glasgow is. And then they would be like, I'm going to Dublin next year, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. That's a different country. There's a sea in between the two places. You need to get a plane to go there. Sure. It's not the same thing.
Oh no,
a lot of Irish people, most of my friends are Irish, but I'm not Irish.
The worst one is when they say, "Oh, you're British."
Yeah.
Like I'm like, Britain has so many countries in it, mate. Like I'm not. I honestly that annoying. I've had English once and I nearly like slapped the boy. I was like,
I've never actually had English. I think I just like before they say it, I'm like twitching. Don't you fucking dare.
Since that happened, I just try and make myself sound extra Scottish.
I just put on the typical like fucking over the top Scottish shit.
Yeah.
Before we start, you've probably said it like a million times, but you've got a bit of X Factor story into powerlifting with a whole football thing. Do you want to walk us through that? Just so sometimes I just rattle into the conversation. People are like, "Who the fuck is the guy he's talking to?" No. Let's go through your background from football.
Right. Okay. So.
And your name's Billy Smith. By the way.
Billy
He's a powerlifter.
Smith. Powerlifter now. Going to be competing for Scotland in the Commonwealth Championships in November. But
fair play to that, by the way. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm very excited. But basically, probably the most typical story. Played football at a decent level. Got into football quite late, but played football at a decent level. Played for Dunfermline Athletic at youth level. Was doing quite well. Broke my leg in a game. It was actually up in Inverness. That's a whole other story. Kind of realized, and that was when I was about 16, I think. Broke my leg. Had to recover from that. At that point, I was already doubting if I actually really enjoyed football. At the time, I was getting off on school on a Thursday to go in with the full-time players and train and get used to it, but I actually didn't really like it. Like there was times where I actually faked injury, so I didn't have to go in because I didn't like it that much. But at that point, it kind of gave me a break from football and kind of made me realize I actually really enjoyed. Like I remember distinctly when I broke my leg. Normally people are down, they're upset. I was lying in my bed with my cast on. I was like, I don't have to go to training for fucking months. So it was kind of that point. And then recovered. And at the point of, this is where my love for fitness kind of started and training. I always say this. I remember there was a boy from my school who went over to America and became like a fitness model. And I literally still remember sitting on the couch with my cast on and I looked at him and I looked at his physique and I was like, I want to be that. So I got my mum to order me, still with my cast on, a bench, some dumbbells in my fucking tiny room. And I just trained in I could. I was doing like one-legged bench press. I was doing planks in I could. Didn't care. I was starting then. Then football came along. Before I could go back to football, I had to get in the gym, started training, started just getting used to getting my leg back to normal. Went back to it, and I just was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was kind of the typical, footballer of the family. People knew me for that. But I decided, nah, it's not for me. That's after that, went and got my gym instructor qualification in school. Started just like helping my friends out and whatever. Really getting into training, and then got my level 3 just at the start of uni, and yeah, just started from there.
Were you training people for a uni as well?
Yeah. So honestly, when I first started, I had my car next to my halls, and I'm from Pennycook, so it's like 30-minute drive for Edinburgh. And I was doing anything I could to be a PT. So I was running boot camps back in Pennycook, driving back.
I can't imagine you doing a boot camp.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. People forget. Like, again, people think you look at the Instagram or whatever, like he's a powerlifter, he coaches people who compete and all this stuff. My mum used to turn up to the boot camps. I was getting paid like £3 by people. I was taking people into gyms, and obviously I didn't have because of uni, I didn't have time to work in them, like to give them my time, and I didn't have the money for rent, so I'd take people into gyms, pretend I was training with them, like last season, that, and like just take them through their program, and then it would be like, I take you through your program, then 4 weeks later we'll change the program a wee bit. I did anything I could for basically no money to be a PT, because that's what I wanted to be.
Mate, my dad tried to convince me to do that, but like as in full time in the gym. He's like, I told him how much the rent and stuff was at the gym I'm working in, and he was like, why don't you just go down to Bells Hill and the leisure centre and just like get a membership and train people in there? And I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just go in there for 20 hours a week, taking different people in, and nobody will clock that.
Honestly. But no, people don't actually get that that's how it works. People don't understand. Like,
yeah, I've had to explain what gym rent is a few times to people, and like, what, you just give them the gym money? I'm like, yeah, but like, that's their that's how the gym makes money as well. It's like their equipment. I can't just magic up all of that equipment, can I? So it's fair.
But it's one of those things, even like the PTs who they're on shift, you know what I mean, and they're given time so they don't have to pay rent. People didn't care about that. So people are like, oh yeah, but they're getting paid to just like stand about, and like, they're not getting paid now. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're sacrificing time, so they don't have to pay that money.
The PTs don't want to do the spin classes.
No.
They're doing it.
No, to be fair, there are the odd one or two, the psychos that enjoy it. I mean, fair play to you, is like, no hate, but God, I can't even sit on a spin bike for long enough.
No, I mean, I can't do it at all. I've started doing, so before I met you, I done cardio with people in the gym. So it's one of those things that I was seeing them doing it, and like, I want to keep up some sort of cardio. So I was playing I just quit playing football 2 months ago. I started again for 2 months. It's not, but I started again. And I was like, I'll patch this again.
I've had my moments too.
And it was like a quarter life crisis. I'll start playing football again in the Airdrie. I was like, fuck, that's what I'm doing. And but I was getting quite fit. Like, I ran a 5K in like 21 minutes when I was 90 kilos. And I've done like sub 20 and stuff before, so I was like, right, this is gonna be like 25.
Stop down your story.
I thought I would do it in like fucking 25 minutes. So I was like, I'm actually quite fit for it, because I was chubby. And then since I stopped, like, I just stopped doing cardio again, because I had no need to do it, because I wasn't running about a football pitch. So I was like, I'm gonna need somebody to force me to do something. So I was like, right, I'm gonna do cardio with you every Wednesday. But it's like brutal cardio. It's like the first one I done, they pretty much, the girl's called Taylor, she programmed it so it was pretty much everything I slag. So like, see the way I'm slagging spin workouts, and I'll slag people that I'd put 2 exercises together and stuff. And she's programmed it like that so she could film me doing everything that I slaughter. But it was absolutely brutal, and you forget how, and you still need a little bit of cardio every now and then. But it's so hard to do when you're fully focused on like other things.
Yeah, mate, honestly. So one of my flatmate, my best mate, he works at F45. He's the trainer there, and I was dieting at the time back in the last year. So I thought, I was gonna go to the gym and do cardio, but he went, why don't you just come along? Like, you come in for free. And it was meant to be like their easiest class. I thought, this will be fun. But I knew, the thing is, I know how, when you just focus on like weightlifting, like proper weightlifting, how much your cardio goes down. And I wasn't going in there thinking I'm the dog's box. And I was shitting myself, because I knew everyone would look at me and think, this guy will be all right. Yeah, look at the size of him and all this stuff. And I was like, fuck me. And honestly, by like, I think it was 3 or 4 rounds. I can't even mind. It's like, 60 seconds on, 15 seconds off, whatever. I was buckled. I was horrible. Fucked at the end of it. I was honestly proud of myself just getting through it. And I ached for like 2-3 days.
You ached? So the one I done last week, we done like squats into shoulder press, and it was all followed after like doing other things. Quads, mate, for 5 days, 5 full days. My hips were actually sore from walking because my knees kept buckling. Because have you ever had that where it's that bad that your knee buckles underneath it? So my hips, I was like walking different, and my hips were starting to ache.
Cowboy Willem.
Yeah. So like I was genuinely starting to ache on my bones. So not that I never had so I always say to people, I actually had a conversation. There's a guy that's coming on the podcast and he does like burpees and stuff. And because I slaughter all of that, he commented saying, do you not think this, something about, do you not think like you should let people do whatever exercise they do? And I gave him like a big paragraph about how I'm not actually against people doing that. And I've made videos on this as well. I was saying, people will find the people they want to follow, and then there's people that will benefit from my way of training. They just haven't found it yet, and they're doing that stuff and they absolutely hate it.
And the only way for them to find you is for you to actively call it out. Unfortunately, that's the way social media works.
It's the only way that it works, and I guarantee you, like, there's a lot of people that have, like, maybe not just for me, but have found that type of content. Like, and the way I explain it is, do you think James Smith has put more people off exercise or on exercise? I would say he's put more people on exercise. So it's just a necessary evil. But I actually had a good conversation with him, and I was like, over time, you kind of cultivate an audience that know what you're doing. And you're just trying to, like, educate them that this might be better for them. The people that love burpees are going to do burpees, and I'm fine with that. They're good, and they've loads of people they can follow. But I have a whole new respect for the actual doing burpees. I'm still going to slag them. They're disgusting, mate. No. But they don't benefit you in anything that I'm trying to like.
Exactly. It's not your market. It's not your way. Fitness is too widespread, and there's so many ways to do things. You have to, especially if you're trying to make a business from it, you have to focus in on things. You have to focus in on what you enjoy, what you love in the market, who will also enjoy and love that. Or you're trying to make people who maybe have an inkling about it want to try it. Like, and unfortunately, the way the social media works, the most ways to get people's attention for it is to call out other ways or say that's why James Smith has worked so well, and he's not afraid to do it, which is why he's and he also does provide good content. Not that I agree with everything, but just because I don't agree with it doesn't I don't need to be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's not for me. Any content that I think's, unless it's like blatantly shit, I'm just like, it's not for me. So I'm not going to moan about it because I understand it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't, honestly, I'm always been an advocate of like, look, you find what fitness works for you. Whether you're Jane, who's 60-year-old, who just loves walking, or you're Jamie, who's a young lad who wants to get huge and into bodybuilding, as long as you're happy doing it, you can change and you can go in time. Like you can become, like so many guys go into CrossFit later on. Just do what you enjoy and it'll work for you and you'll be happy. And then if you want to switch later on, you can switch.
And we are, like, most of us are going to switch. You might get another 5 years into powerlifting and switch. I think I'll switch in like 2 or 3 years' time. But there's so many different avenues in fitness. I find it funny as well because people will be like, can you do a tutorial on cleans? And it's like, no, I don't know how to do a clean, mate.
No. I remember I've had a few clients here and there be like, oh, I've really got an interest in Olympic weightlifting, for example. And that's them starting to want to go different avenues. And I say to them right away, I don't lie. I'm like, look, I'm not an Olympic weightlifting coach. I'm not that good at it. I could probably program you a little bit, but I can't show you technique. I don't know how to do it. So if that's an avenue you want to go down, you probably need to get help from someone else. And that can be, like I said to one guy who had at the start of this year, I was like, look, I can see that you really like that, but we need to build your basics of the squat, bench, and deadlift. Get that basics there. And then
they can cross over quite a bit anyway. You need to be strong at deadlifting and then squats to
I said to him, like, look, see after this, if you want to go Olympic weightlifting coach and focus on that more, that's fine. But let me get you through this program to build that base so you can do it. Because, like, say, let's build the base first and then you can go more advanced. But I don't lie to people and say I am what I'm not just to get money in, because that's never going to work, because they're going to figure it out or they're going to hurt themselves. Just be true to what you are and who you are. And you'll, like you say, you'll find the audience that comes to you and they'll absolutely love you for it because it's what they love. If you try and be who you are, you'll be shite and then no one will be happy.
Have you ever tried any Olympic lifts?
I haven't, no. It's just not really.
Have you ever tried like an overhead squat?
No, honestly.
Mate, just I'm not telling you doing. Please try an overhead squat. It's the hardest.
Honestly, I like sometimes, like my flatmate, he's getting into it and stuff like that. And we've got a stick just in, in a flat to like shoulder mobility and stuff. This is what 2 fitness lads do in their spare time. And I literally just went, put it above my head and tried to squat, and I was like, I can't even put my shoulders back. Like, I was like, I can't even do it with a stick. How the fuck am I going to do it away?
I put like just a 10 kilo one on, and like honestly, it wasn't even like a quarter squat. It's like literally like I got 1 inch down.
Yeah, you're already like straining, like, oh my fuck. But that's the thing, you should respect every avenue. Like I said about the F45 class, I didn't walk into that. I think I was going to be class. I'm not that narcissistic. I was like, this is not what I do. I'm going to be shy at. But that's why I respect people that turn up. Those people that do those classes like 5 days a week, sometimes do them twice. I'm like, you could be really fit doing that.
Oh, they're fit as fuck. They're absolutely, they're mad fit. Like one of the girls that's doing the cardio, she's a like whatever body attack, body pump. I forget all the names. She does like, she used to do 32 of those classes a week. Now she does 20, but she's done 32. And like, you can't, like, as a trainer of those classes, you can't just tell other people what you do. You need to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to actually do it. Otherwise, they're all watching you. So if you stop doing it, they stop doing it. Yeah, they're not actually listening to what you're saying. They're following you. So it's like, it's a microscope on you to keep doing it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's absolutely nuts. Also, one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on, right, was very selfish reasons. I just wanted to ask you loads. For the last like 4 or 5 months, I've been doing 5-3-1. Right. So that is kind of powerlifting. I'm not a powerlifter or anything.
No, it's a powerlifting program, yeah.
I like getting stronger. What would be your, if someone comes to you and they're like, I'm stuck on 80 kilo bench and I'm stuck on like 165 kilo deadlift, which is what I was stuck on.
Exactly what you're on.
So what I'm definitely stuck on. What is like would be your, say it's deadlift and you wanted to do like a single on 200, what would be your go-to advice as soon as a client comes on?
Again, this is the most typical answer. It really depends a lot on their training history, how long they've been training, all these different things. But if I had to just come up with a general answer, first of all, the 5-3-1, I used to run that when I was first getting into it.
I'm loving it, by the way.
It's a good program. It breaks things down pretty much as you need it and keeps it very simple, which is exactly what a beginner needs. And if someone is on a 5x5 and anyone's listening who does 5x5, change that, run the 5-3-1, because the 5x5 will get you hurt up to a certain point. So just to cover that. From that, I always say, if you're stuck at a number, strip it right back. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do that before. So it was like 80 kilos for 5 on bench, and I was bulking and got up to that. Yeah. And then I just stuck for like 4 months. So I've been on this for like 4 or 5 months, and I've still not touched 80 kilo on the bench yet. But when I do it, it's going to be like it'll be way stronger. Yeah. I can already tell by the other numbers it's going to be way stronger. Yeah. And the deadlift was the same. It was like 165 for 5, and I just couldn't get past it. Like if I done like 170, I'd have done like 1 and it'd been horrendous. Yeah, and you keep, like, the thing is, normally when people tell me they're stuck at a number, they've really repeatedly been trying to do weights in and around that number because they can't let their ego go to drop further down. But the thing is, I always say to people, you have to do the back end work to earn the right to lift that weight you want. And I will always say, strip it right back and literally go to I always talk about percentages, right? But take that number that you're stuck at and go to 60%. Do 60% for like sets of, we'll say 6 to 10 to start with, but I would say you should probably be able to do that for like 8 to 10. Do that for 3 sets. Next week, if you can put a little bit more on the bar for the same sets, do that. If it gets to the next week and you can do that for the same sets, put a little bit more weight on and do it for the same, do that. If you can't, all right, you can't bring the weight up and keep those same reps. Drop the reps down to sets of 8. Okay. And this is where you start something almost called peaking. But you're doing this so much back end work on these lower weights, it will build up and pay off at those higher ones. You do the sets of 8, you do that for 2 weeks. You'll need a deload in there somewhere because it's hard work. I'd say every like 4 weeks, take a deload. But just basically like drop the reps down a little bit, put the weight up a little bit, try and stick with those reps and up the weight as much as you can. Then the minute you need to, the RPEs are getting too high, it's getting too hard, you drop the reps, you bring the weight up. It's not as hard, but you can see yourself like a graph slowly being able to do more. And you'll notice that you'll start hitting PBs at certain reps that you've never done before, at certain weights with reps you've never done before. And you know that, say you're doing 80 kilo, you're stuck at the 80 kilo bench press. If you're suddenly hitting 70 kilos for sets of 3 or 4, you're like, you know you can do more than 80 kilos. You haven't done it yet, but you know you can do it. That's what's basically happened so far. So like the good thing about 5-3-1 is like, even though you don't touch, so like it literally it does, you calculate what your 1 rep max, and I've never done a 1 rep max, so I just calculate even if you've done like a set of 5. Yeah, like, you just done it based off of that. So I put it as like whatever, 90 or whatever. Then it gets you to take 10% off that. Yep. And then it strips you back. So you go like 4 or 5 months back, and like see the first
Mate, the first like month or like the first cycle of doing 5-3-1, you're like in the gym and you're like, I hope no one looks at the way I'm lifting.
Yeah.
That's how much it brings you down, but it's actually great, and it's one of the best things I've done so far in training, and it's actually, I'd say it's the most I've improved.
Yeah.
And like it's daft things. I like it because you PB on numbers that you wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Like I could maybe at the start I could have done 70 for like 10 or 11, and like I done 16 the other day, and you don't think you're getting stronger, and then you do that and you're like, right, okay, that's
and
actually
the thing is as well with it is like it gives when you do the 5-3-1, basically it'll say like you hit a certain, like you're doing your 5 reps on the top set, it's like 5 or more. So if you can do more than that, you can push that bit harder. And that gives you the ability to PB on the weights. You might hit a PB once you hit 5, but you could go for 6 or 7 if it's there. But because it pulls you back so much, realistically, your RPs are never going to be that high every week. Because what will happen is you'll hit PBs and you'll hit a PB you're really happy with, and your RP still won't be that high. So it keeps you fresh. And this is the thing people need to learn mainly about powerlifting. Going to RP 9 and 10 every week is probably the worst thing that you can do. It really is. Most of the top level powerlifters, and even I've learned it, especially with being with my coach for a little while, RP 8 max most weeks until it comes to the point when you're really
explain
peaking.
what RPE is, just because I've got a lot of beginners
Of course,
as well.
Yeah. So RP is called rate of perceived exertion, and in the most simple terms, it's basically on a scale of 6 to 10. You can go to 5, but we'll go 6 to 10. And it basically, if you do a set of 10 with X weight, and at the end of the set, you feel you had 4 reps left, you would then say that it was an RP 6, because you feel like out of 10, you've got 4 reps left. If you felt you had 3, 7. If you felt you had 2, 8, 1, 9, 10, you've got no more left. So it's just a really good way of rating a set based on how difficult you found it by how many reps you feel you've got left. And you can even go like 9.5, like I maybe had another one, but I didn't go for it. And when I say that, it's just basically how hard it was.
And you often find when you ask clients, how hard would you say that was out of 10, and they say 9, they probably only had 1 rep, and it's actually quite accurate that way.
Or sometimes, especially with people you probably work with who are getting new to the gym and stuff like that, usually their RPs are way lower. They'll call it an RP 9, but it's really you've got like 4 reps
especially if
left.
they say like 6, it's actually like they've got 20 left.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that to be like this, like, oh, you've got more in the tank, man, come on, like go till you die. I'm not like that. It's just so many, even like when I start working with people, you know, I understand that they're new and they're not wanting to push that hard and stuff like that, but realistically, you'll have a lot more than you think. But you learn that with time, and that comes with building confidence. So, you know, but honestly, if you're stuck at something, leave the ego at the fucking door, strip it right back, start from scratch, and learn to enjoy that process. And the thing is, the more you stay in that pocket before getting to those higher percentages, you will get a bigger 1 rep max PB from that. Like staying in that pocket. Like I've competed 3 times in 3 years due to lockdown mainly and stuff like that. But every single year I've came back and I've PB'd massively because I've stayed in that pocket for so long. A lot of powerlifters, for example, they compete very often. There's not a lot of pocket there for you to stay in. So you're maxing out quite a lot. And that.
What do you mean by pocket? Sorry, just like.
All right, so
not peaking. Do you mean?
Yeah. So what I call the pocket is that zone between like RP. So like not doing that hard work, but doing it often. And,
I get
and
you.
like
recoverable work.
Yeah, exactly. And what happens is you'll find you are getting stronger very incrementally, but you're how difficult things are staying pretty the same. You know, you're not getting fried every single week, you know, and you're taking regular deloads. And I just say you stay in the pocket. You don't come out of that pocket, but when you do peak, when you get to those higher numbers, those higher percentages close to your max, they'll feel way easier. You'll be way more confident. Because like we've said, you know, you've got to the point because you've put that back end work in where you're 10 kilos off your PB and you're repping it for like 5 reps. And then you're like, you know that you can do more.
Yeah.
And that weight isn't scary anymore. So you're literally, I call it like, you've made it almost a stopgap rather than a nervous thing. You're like, I know I can do that, so I'm just going to do it, and then it's on to bigger things. So you do so much back-end work. It's like, you know, like if you're producing a really good podcast, if you do all the back-end work, you've got the lighting, you've got the sound, everything's good to go. And once you get into it, everything will run smooth because you've done all that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Mate, this is so interesting because it's literally just what I've been researching stuff for like the last 4 or 5 months, and I'm properly interested in it. See, with deadlifting, what I've found, I've maybe been so I had my mate called Aaron that was on about a few weeks ago, and I always convinced myself that I've got like ridiculously long limbs. I'm just really long limbed. So every time I tried deadlifting, I was like, I just couldn't get it. But I was
Yeah.
also doing it on my own, and he walked me through it for like an hour, and ever since then I've been absolutely hooked on it.
Yeah.
And I've found deadlifting itself has been almost like a sport on its own.
Yeah.
Do you know, like every time I film it back, I'm like learning every single time about little things. And even if I feel like there's stuff I can figure out that I've done wrong, that if I looked at it a year ago, I'd have watched my video back and I wouldn't have a clue what I'd done wrong. I feel like the longer you do it, you start grasping it all.
Yeah.
But it's for literally just picking a bar off the ground, there's so much to it.
Well, the example I always use is like, people think out in powerlifting you do squat, bench, and deadlift, right? And people will always think that the bench press, for example, is this most simple thing in the world. You lie down, you press the bar up and down, simple, in a straight line. And then when I actually pick them apart, I'm like, no, we need to create a better arch. You need to use leg drive. You should actually be pressing like diagonally up and back. And when you actually do all the things you need a bench press, it's a very technical movement. In practice, everything can look simple, everything can be simple, but to be really elite at a simple thing, or even just a good standard, takes a lot of practice, a lot of picking apart. I mean, when I went with my coach, I'd already done a competition. I was quite good, and he ripped everything apart and made me identify things I'd never even noticed before. And that's why he's so good at it. And it made me learn that. And that's what I can do for other people now. Like, but again, what did I do? I let my ego go. He pulled everything back down to basics, and you need that. And as long as you enjoy that process of wanting to get better, not minding, when I say ripped apart, it didn't rip me apart. Like, obviously I'd done some things good, but taking that feedback even from yourself and being willing to work on it, it becomes really enjoyable. But you have to be willing to do that. And you have more time to do that.
Being honest, like when he does that, were you completely fine with it?
Yeah.
Or did you have any like sort of like, oh, I thought that was good, that bit?
No, I've always been like, if you like, I just get more excited for the next session because I can't wait to action that and see how it feels and see what it does. Because like I say, if you're paying a coach, like you want them to identify things, and you know, you also, sometimes it's good to just get, no, that was great, well done. Either way, like it's good. And I just got excited because there's things that habits develop and then they change and stuff. Even as you get better, you might develop another little habit that you need to tweak and things. And I'm always learning. But if I have a bad session or I don't do something quite right, and I used to be the same with football, if I had a bad game, I couldn't think about anything else for that whole week until the next one. If I have a bad session,
see, at 27, going back and playing, I was like that, and I'm playing amateur football.
Yeah, it's just like
amateur football at a really shite level, and I'm like sitting not being able to sleep.
It's something like that. If I have a bad session, like I didn't have the best session on Sunday, went in yesterday and I was just so focused on having a good one, because the feeling it gives me is like nothing else. It's, you know, forget money, forget all that. I am a very simple human. If I can go in and train and feel good with that, I'm a very happy person. Really.
Yeah, like what I've noticed with 531 is like, if I can just add one rep, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's like you come out, the whole world's shining. It could, I mean, it's Scotland. It could be pissing down rain.
Like, why are you so happy? I'm like, I had done one more on the bench press at the same weight I done 2 months ago. One more rep. But he's like, that's fuck all. How are you not improving? And I'm like, that's good improvement for me.
Yeah, but that's what all people don't realize. It's all just adding up reps and little bits of weight over a long fucking time. Like, again, people pop up and think, like, they probably look at my page now and they see what I'm lifting, see what I'm doing. But about 4 or 5 years ago, I think I was still learning how to squat 100 kilos. You know what I mean? And it's taken a long fucking time and a lot. Like, again, my deadlift, for example, it doesn't matter about the numbers or anything, but I hit a 1 rep max PB 2 years ago in lockdown. I didn't hit a single 1 rep max PB for 2 years, but I kept showing up every day, kept trying to make it work, tweaking things, working things. I pull sumo, but I went to conventional for a while. I did everything. And just like a few weeks ago, I managed to pull off 1 rep max deadlift for the first time in 2 years. And I don't care that it took so long. All that mattered was it happened, and I felt amazing. I was jumping for joy. I literally was like almost greeting, I swear to God, because I always stick with things. I don't care. Like, if you want to be really good at something, if you want to lose the weight or gain muscle or whatever, you have to be willing to, you know, like I say, a degree is 4 years, but you won't put 6 months to try and change yourself. You've got to give it that time, and you've got to be willing to do that. And it took a long time, but I was willing to do it. If you can be willing to put in that time, however much time you've got, you'll do well. Yeah,
one thing that, because you always look at your own lifts and you're like, you can see other people lifting stuff. And like I said, with every guest, I go through absolutely everything. Like and I gave you a wee like from like 2020 or something. I always do that as well. And I don't know how long ago, it was like 4 years ago, but you were like, you failed the deadlift on a weight I could do. And I was like, I feel a wee bit better myself now. Like 4 years on and you're fucking absolutely smashing it, going to the Commonwealth Games. I don't think I'm going to, I don't have ambitions of that. But like, that's absolutely nuts. And it is just literally scaling it back when you've went too far and just going again.
Yeah, it's rinse and repeat.
Would you, a way to describe it, would you say it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back quite a lot?
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at general training, if you're pushing hard enough, you should take regular deloads every now and then.
Well, 5-3-1 gets you to do it every 4th week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on people. It depends on how they recover, and fitness is all person dependent. But every 4 to 6 weeks, you probably should be doing it. So that's a way of you even pulling back just very slowly. But if you're really stuck on something, you should be going to training phases where you're working on, like right now, I'm working on a really high rep scheme with my squat. Mainly, me and my coach are like, let's just do something different. Because I've been on low reps for so long. Yeah. Let's do that. And it's just, you find what you need and you have to be able to pull it back, rinse, repeat, build up. And again, if we're talking about technical aspects, you should always try and like, working with lower weights is easier to try and bring in technical changes. So that gives you that time to do that. But you only really know if you've mastered that technical change once you get up to the higher weights. Because it's all well and good doing, you know, really good technique with 60% of your max. But can you do it when you get the higher ones? So it's good to practice that, learn it at the lower weights. And then when you get there, you see if you can really do it and you focus on it. So, you know, both ways. But yeah, it's just pull yourself back, rinse, repeat, do it over a long period of time.
How much does building muscle crossover into powerlifting?
Oh, hugely. I'm a big advocate. Like, I always have this grief where people think that powerlifting doesn't build muscle. I think it's the dumbest fucking thing in the whole world. I don't get it whatsoever. Like, and I get that bodybuilding is hyperly focused on it. I do. But for everyone, powerlifting will build you muscle. Very rarely do you see someone who has a really good squat, bench, deadlift be really small. You know what I mean? And particularly, like, yes, there's ways you can leverage it and all that, but only so much. Do you know what I mean? Like, the more muscle you have, like I always say, bigger muscles have a greater ability to be stronger. Stronger muscles have a greater capacity to be bigger. They both work in tandem. So, you know, focus on building muscle. You can focus on both. Do you know what I mean? The more muscle you have, the more strength you can have. Very simple.
From an elite level powerlifter, how do you feel when people say deadlift isn't worth the risk to reward ratio?
In certain sports, I do get where they're coming from. It's not necessarily required, but I will always think that an athlete should be doing some sort of hip hinge. I think any person should be doing some sort of hip hinge. Now, people who normally say that are talking about like football players, and a lot of that comes from the fear of getting hurt. The deadlift is the stigma of getting hurt. Everyone's terrified of it. Like, and even at that level. Now, obviously, you just call me an elite powerlifter. I don't think I'm quite there yet. This is my first international competition. There's people who are way better than me, but
don't downplay yourself though. You're a strong man.
Yeah. Well, for my opinion on that is like, for certain sports, it's probably not necessary. But if you can do a deadlift safely, or any form of deadlift, any form of hip hinge, I would promote every single person to do it because it works so many muscles in your body at once. It is good for athletic performance, and you'll feel fucking great when you do it, provided you do it safely. Just it has no more ability of hurting you than playing. I broke my leg playing football. I've never broke my leg on a deadlift. Like, there's studies that show that people get way more injured playing the sports that people play every day than they do from like weightlifting and powerlifting.
Well, I've had one injury from lifting. It was just like I pulled my lat. I think I sprained my ankle about 13 times playing football.
Yeah, people think that lifting weights in general is more dangerous than these other sports you do. It's not.
I tried to explain this to a client the other day. She just started and I just had like dumbbell remaining deadlifts in her program, and she was like, I'm scared of doing these in case they literally just say the word deadlift. So like a client won't know what a dumbbell remaining deadlift is until they do it. So she's just seen the word deadlift and like people get so scared straight away. And I'm like, start with literally 4 kilos on your first set.
You're not gonna hurt yourself.
I'm like, you need to actually put significant weight on it. And even if you do it ridiculously wrong, it's more likely to be training too frequently and like
there's so many factors that go into why you could get hurt.
Overtraining is more likely to injure you than like doing the movement wrong.
The deadlift is there's the most like out of all the movements, probably the one that's got the most testosterone attached to it. Like, you know what I mean? People really attach their ego to what they can deadlift, because the deadlift is the one that people can pack the most weight on the fastest and
That's
build
literally
up.
why, isn't it? It's literally just because you can put the most weight on it.
So people love it, and people will, again, they can't let their ego go. So they stay at these very close to their 1 rep max. They keep doing it. They get more aggressive. They keep trying to wrench it. Then they hurt themselves like, oh, fuck, it's the deadlift's fault. When it's these guys who are not sleeping well, not eating well, or girls, or just general public, not eating well, not sleeping well, cranked out their heads on caffeine so they're not sleeping well. They don't really focus on their technique. They just try and rip it. And I used to be that person before I slag anyone off. I've hurt my back on deadlifts a number of times, but it's not because of the deadlift. It's because of me. So before you start slagging the movement and saying that's bad and saying, oh, people shouldn't do it, look at maybe what you're doing first. You know what I mean? Because like, I literally, as an example, right? Last weekend, I was down in Birmingham. I was seeing my girlfriend. It was a very social week. It was her birthday. There was a lot going on. Went out 3 times. It was really hot. I didn't sleep that well. That Sunday, now I've deadlifted 280 kilos recently, so 220 kilos shouldn't be a lot for me. I went in the gym on the Sunday expecting it to be fine. I didn't have a lot programmed. Went in, I couldn't even lift 220 kilos off the floor. Shit you not. So for me, that's nothing. I can do that from 10 plus, but I couldn't budge it off the floor. Not because, and my back was a bit achy and stuff like that. It wasn't because of the deadlift. It's because I wasn't sleeping well. My diet was terrible. I'd been drinking. And if I'd kept going, I literally picked up, couldn't do it. I was like, right, I'm done. That's fine. Did you go
leave the gym?
Yeah, I just went, like, there's no point in me doing the session. I'll leave it for another day. One day, good eating, really good sleep, got back up the road, got home, went to the gym, and I squatted more than 220 kilos for 7 reps. You know what I mean? And obviously that means I can deadlift more than that. So again, before you start slagging a movement off, look at what you're doing. You know what I mean?
For anyone that's scared of like the deadlift that's coming from absolutely nothing, which a lot of people that follow me would be, where would you start someone that's looking to maybe deadlift, but they literally are starting from nothing?
Yeah, exactly what you just said. The RDL is a great movement. Dumbbell RDL. Start with that. You can start. You can start with 1 dumbbell and just like holding it like that. Learn how to hip hinge. Just learn how to hip hinge.
Explain what a hip hinge is as well.
Well, a hip hinge is just basically where I'm not actually really good with the technical terms, but I just know how to do it. Like, you just basically stick your arse out, bend over, lean down, get to about midway on your shin, like an RDL, and then come back up, making sure you keep your back straight. I don't want to explain it in very typical term, in very
sciencey terms. Yeah,
I'm actually not that kind of person. Like, I honestly, people might say, oh, you do this, you do that, like abduction and all this stuff. I'm just like, nah, basically, you just
shove your arse out.
Yeah, you shove your arse out, you bring the dumbbells down to about mid shin, and you stand up again. It sounds very simple, but to do it properly, safely, with a straight back takes time. So you build that up, and all you do, like if I had to run you through what I do with a client from that example, start with an RDL, start with the lightest dumbbells, focus on control, maybe even do a pause at the bottom, get their back straight, come back up, build that up to probably about like 20 kilos each hand.
What are the, because I actually think I'm getting into this as well. That's what I'm trying to do.
Go for it. Yeah.
That little, see the videos I'm doing where I'm going through the sessions. I'm actually trying to like get them to see like what the cues are and what the little thing. I'm trying to go over the most common errors.
Yeah.
So not like everyone's got nuanced things. Like I had one client that just doesn't straighten her arms when she does it now.
She thinks when you pull, you have to pull it up.
Yeah, so she goes down like that, and I was like, right, well, I'm not covering that one because maybe 1 in 100 people will do that. What cues do you find worked for helping people learn how to like Romanian deadlift?
Yeah, I always think just literally stand up straight with them first and just have them out in front of you, and then just bend your knees a little bit. Bend your knees a touch and just have your arse out a bit. And then literally all I want you to do is lean, like push your arse out more, focus on keeping your back straight and your arms long. And to be honest, I always think with everyone, you can explain the hell out of anything. But with someone, I need to have someone there, do it, try it, and then you fix things.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to explain too much at once, they'll be going through all these things in their head. And that's where people
one
go
cue
wrong.
at a time as well.
Yeah, exactly. Take it as they need to fix it. Explain it the best you can. But the thing they need to do is try it. Realize they're probably going to be doing it. And the thing is, they might only be doing one wee hang wrong. You fix that one wee hang. Oh, maybe something else appears. Fix that next wee thing. But yeah, and the biggest thing I say to people, start light, focus on control. Practice. Go to the next weight when you feel confident and build that. And like I say, I always say I'll build people to the point where, like with an RDL, a dumbbell RDL, before I even get them to touch a barbell, is just to probably get them to 20 kilo dumbbells like in each arm. Maybe not even that. It could be 10 kilo dumbbells in each arm. And then I'll get them on a barbell, teach them how the barbell RDL, which is obviously very similar. It's just with a bar in your hand. And from that point, honestly, a barbell RDL is just as hard as a deadlift, really. Deadlift, you could, you can take it from a dead stop and stand up with it. So like, once you do that, you're like, okay, we're going to start with the bar on the floor now. And when you come up, I just want you to put the bar down on the floor. But I want you to keep your chest up a little bit more. I want you to, it's not the exact same, but they have the basic principles of it. And that's kind of how I just progress it. And again, you start with, if they've done RDLs with 20 kilos each hand, they can do about 40 kilos. You start with the 10 kilos bumpers each side. And you just gradually build and you work on it.
That's good to know, because it's how I coach people.
Yeah,
like that. I do the exact same thing. A lot of people go through trap bar before, but I've never actually done that.
That's a good way of doing it as well. I think it's just
because you can get away with doing less right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's literally, that is the most close to standing up, because you pick it up from the side here. You can really coach someone and be
you can squat it a bit more as well.
Yeah, exactly. You basically can just be with someone, because it's at your side, like literally just stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up with a straight back. And it's much, but then again, it's just another way of doing it. You take them there first, and maybe someone goes from the dumbbell RDL to the trap bar. And then you say, okay, now the bar's in front of you, but all you need to do is see that very similar thing. Like, again, to explain it, the most simple is just stand up way. You break it down to someone very simply. There's a million ways to do things, but you start very basic and build up. Like, if I have someone who's never, and I've still had people, I still train people now who who've never even been at a gym before. Start with them all machines. Then you bring them, you never done a bench press before. Let's start with a machine chest press. All right, let's graduate from that to a flat dumbbell bench press. All right, we'll graduate from that to, might even just do a little bit incline just to really gain your confidence. Now we're going to a flat barbell. We will start with the barbell. And sometimes I'll even put, if you really want to, you can put 5 kilos on each side if you're feeling confident. 9 times out of 10, they feel confident, they feel good. They've learned a new movement and they put some weight on. Gradually build. Start from the ground up with everyone. That's how I started.
Yes. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And especially, like, I admit this a lot, because there's a big push with programs being personalized. But with the way I coach, when people come on, I always get, nobody has ever lifted with me.
Yeah.
So I always give them personalized programs on their second program. The first one, I give them the exact same thing, and then I progress and regress stuff.
Yeah.
So I get form videos, and then, because I need to see what their ability's like, and then I do personalize it, but not the initial one. No. The second week we'll have 3 or 4 changes, and then change it from there, and then 6 weeks in I'll change it a little bit, because I do find you just need to see what people's abilities are.
Well, let's make this abundantly clear. If any coach tells you that everything is probably completely 100% personalized at the very beginning, they're probably lying. Right? I've
got 10 programs.
Yeah,
the starting ones.
Yeah, you've got like a template to work off. You personalize bits that you need to, but for a complete beginner who's never touched the weight, all we need to do at first is get you in there and get you lifting something.
Yeah.
All right. And then again, start with that, and then you adjust from there. 9 times out of 10, when I get even when I give like a high level powerlifter a program, I'll be like, right, there's room
to teach you the dumbbell remaining.
Yeah. But like, even at that point, I always say it's about starting and then adjusting as you go. So that's where I really have to personalize things based on their experience and all this stuff. That's when it gets really advanced. That's when it is all personalized. But even at that point, I'm like, there's room for this program to change week to week, depending on how you recover, depending on how things move. You have to start somewhere before you adjust something. Of course, if it's a complete beginner, they've never done anything. So, you find what works for them. And most things with beginners is, especially if it's like online and you're not right there with them, it might just be a movement that they're not confident enough with yet. So you find something, maybe an area they're more confident with, to try it. That's where you need the adaptability, and that's where things come in. But again, the first program, they might be on for like 4 weeks. They build a good base of muscle. They build their confidence, just go in the gym. Then it's like, all we're going to do now, that scary area in the gym, that where the free weights are, I'm going to get you to just do 1 exercise in that per workout. Builds their confidence. They go in once, right? Let's just do 2 now. You might go from a leg extension to a dumbbell lunge, just in that area. Gradually build that. By, week 8, week 12, they're doing full free weight workouts, or maybe still have some machines sprinkled in there. But with beginners, it's more about gradually building confidence than it is actually building because once they keep getting more confident, they'll do more advanced movements, they'll get stronger, they'll get more muscle, they'll lose weight. It kind of comes from that.
A lot of the skill set is from repetition as well, isn't it? Like form and stuff. It's like you only get better by doing it.
Yeah, that's literally.
I like the way you describe it and stuff as well, is because I think a lot of people think that it's like, right, I'm going to get in and then it's about progress, but there's a whole learning process that you need to go through. And like coaching for me is not like, I don't do 12-week transformations or any of that sort of thing. Coaching for me is teaching you, I want to give you the skill set at the gym. And like the over the last like year, I've changed it so much that it's like you come on with me to learn how to lift. Because when I was doing fat loss sort of chat, people would be like,
of course.
I just want to lose weight. Do I need to go to the gym? I genuinely had a few people that I didn't really want to do it, but it's a necessary evil. It was like just doing steps and then get them in the gym after. But I found the people who get into the gym and force themselves to go for even like, if they go for 8 weeks straight, I will say I don't worry about those people anymore. If they've never went to the gym before and they don't miss a session for 8 weeks, and they give me that one message of, I just, instead of it being a scale weight thing, they just go, oh, I pushed, like I got an extra rep on something. I'm like, I've got them.
It's clicked.
Yeah, I've got them. Like, that's what I want to do. I don't tell them at the start. I kind of play mind games. So I'm like,
yeah, of course
I'm like, that's all I want them to do. I want them to get the feeling of like pushing a little bit further and grinding an extra rep out. Because once they do that, I know they're hooked. I don't care what they look like at that point.
Or at least as much. It's not the only thing.
I know that in 2 years' time, they're probably still going to be doing it. And that's the people that I care about. I don't care about.
Well, that attachment to performance is the best thing that you can give people, because the minute they suddenly start to just feel good about what they're doing rather than how they look, which is where everyone basically starts with fitness, that will become something that they always do. And the thing is, 90% of the time, probably, the more your performance keeps improving a long period of time, whether you're lifting more weight, you're generally doing more steps per week or whatever, the more your performance increases, you will find that your body follows suit.
Your mind as well, I think.
Yeah, your mind as well, yeah.
Your body and your mind. You become like just a more all-rounded person, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And you learn, for anyone that maybe, you learn to overcome obstacles every single week. Like, and it's a great feeling. That's why I say, like, I'm a very simple man. If I can go in the gym and progress, I feel like the best thing in the world, because it is so difficult. Like you said, your dad is like, oh, one more rep. What's that? Do you know how difficult it is just to get that one more rep and to stick it out like my deadlift? 2 years to get 7.5 kilos extra on a freaking barbell.
But if I go on,
didn't matter.
If I go on at 80 kilos and I haven't touched it in 5 months and I'm stuck at 5 for 4, I've stuck on it for 4 months. I just kept on going in and I'd bench like 5. But I would do 2 sets. So I'd bench 5 and then I would try bench like 4 or 5 again, and I'd maybe get to 5 and 5, and then I was like, right, next week I'll try 6 and I'll do 4.
Yeah,
so it was that sort of way.
What the fuck?
So if I touch that 80 kilo barbell, which I'll do in like maybe 4 weeks time, if I can do 8 or 9, I'm gonna come out that I'm gonna have a hard on straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be fucking buzzing.
It's very rarely you feel more proud of yourself with that. And
it's very rarely that you get more horny over a barbell than a girl, but that'll be the case.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, my girlfriend probably has arguments with me like all the time. do you love the gym more than me? And I'm like,
it's a close call.
No. But yeah, like I said, it's just, if you once you make that shift to really enjoy your performance more, and that's where I've got to, maybe even more so, but if not as much as just like looking good. And I've said this so much to people, if you just focus on your performance and constantly getting better and you manage your diet a wee bit, your body will follow suit, and your mind will come with that as well. It will all come together. You will get much more fulfillment and happiness, at least in most of the people I work with, and in my own case, from what you can do rather than how you look. Because it
100%.
Gets old. I've been shredded. I've been diced. You take a couple of photos for Instagram and then you're bored shitless and you're weak and you're tired and you realize no one gives a fuck.
No one cares.
No one cares. Like, I get way more compliments now for filling out a t-shirt, being a bit bigger. My girlfriend prefers me. I'm more happier in the gym because I'm progressing.
She probably prefers you just because you're nicer as well.
Yeah, maybe.
When you're on more food, you tend to be nicer.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I haven't actually been that lean in so long. I've forgotten if I did have mood swings or any of that point.
Oh,
but
I definitely do, mate. You say one thing to me and I'm like, fucking raging.
I just want my next meal. But no one cares. And like, I'm so much happier and I have so much more fulfillment. And that's because fulfillment. And that's why I love powerlifting, because all that matters, it doesn't matter how you look, it doesn't matter where you're at, it's all just about that weight on the bar. It's undeniable. The thing with bodybuilding and stuff like that, it's someone's opinion. My girlfriend prefers me when I'm like this. There's another lassie out there who maybe prefers me when I'm shredded. That's their opinion. But how much you can lift in comparison to someone else is undeniable. And the thing is, in the gym I'm at and lifts in my amazing friend group who I've got from there, love them all. I'm not going to say all the names and stuff. We are all different bodies. We're all different people. We all have different lives and all that. But when we come into that gym, doesn't matter if you're the person deadlifting 80 kilos or you're the one deadlifting 280 kilos. We know how much that milestone means to you on your journey right now. And we are shouting, we are screaming, we're like, come on, because we've all been there. You talk about that time. There's literally a video on my Instagram, if you scroll down way to the beginning, of me failing a 160 kilo deadlift. You're talking about trying to get past 165. I was there. The minute you get 170 kilos, I will be screaming for you. I'll be shouting for you, because I know exactly how that felt. And it never changes, no matter what the weight is. It could be your 4 kilo dumbbells. It could be your 280. It could be your 300, whatever. It all feels the same. Every step feels class. So don't, like, see when you say, like, you compare yourself to other people, or people are lifting more, people doing more. See that feeling that you get when you hit that PB, regardless of what it is. That person that's just done that incredible weight you want to get to feels the exact same as you do now. So enjoy every step. Seriously. Because you only want more anyway.
Yeah. And you talk about congratulating yourself with it as well, don't you? Like, actually take the time and like be like, that was class. Well
yeah, it's something. I did a TikTok the other day, and it's something I'm probably struggling with a lot, is actually, and I don't know if it's a thing with being a man or whatever, or what stage I'm at in my life, being proud of what I'm doing is something I've struggled with for probably the past few years, or 2-ish years, just coming out of uni and lockdown and things, because I think it is to do with social media. I think I have been comparing myself but not realizing it. I've got quite a strong mentality. At least I like to think I do.
I'm very big on this. So talked about it a few times. I've muted everyone on Instagram. I follow you and mute you. And then I still like
do that.
Took me 2 or 3 weeks. Instagram are arseholes. They can only let you mute like 40 or 50 people at a time. So I honestly took 2 weeks to do it. I didn't want to unfollow everyone. So my old coach, he unfollowed everyone, because we were both talking about it. I was like, I'm actually sick. I'm sick of, because you don't know you're doing it. It's subconsciously.
Yeah.
You don't think you're like, and especially your ego takes over with that as well. Like, oh, I don't compare myself to others. We do. That's what we do. Guys and girls do it. So like, you'd be subconsciously not thinking about it, comparing yourself to like, does he make more money than me? Coach, is his business doing better than me? Is he in better shape than me? Is he living a better life than me? Is his girlfriend fitter? Do you know what I mean? You do absolutely everything. So I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to scroll on Instagram. I honestly think watching people's stories is so a nice feature of a social media app, and it gets people's attention. I don't need to see people's stories. When I think about it, I don't. I want people to keep watching mine because it does well for my business. But I don't. So I muted everyone. And I think it's one of the best things I've done for my mental health.
I'm going to do that. I'm definitely going to do that.
You still get caught, right? So I still watch people's stories. So if you post a story and then I still look at who viewed, so your brain figures out ways around it.
Right.
So, but I still spend about 80% time less, and I don't watch stories. So if I post a story and people view it and there's a red ring, I'll still click on it. So I get caught that way. Yeah. Then also, like, if there's a bird I fancy and I know, like, and it comes up, and I might click on her profile, she's uploading a picture, I might fucking like it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's stuff you still get caught. So my brain's figured ways of getting around it, and I'll still watch the odd stories, but I spend 90% less time, and I found it's just so much better, because you get stuck just going through stories, stuck scrolling. So I don't scroll Instagram at all. What I'm going to do this week is I'm going to delete TikTok and try upload through my computer.
That was a good idea.
Because I spent 4 months uploading through my computer, because my TikTok was linked to my Aussie number. And I lost my Aussie number coming home, and it was the two-factor verification. It took me 4 months to get it back. So I kept uploading on my computer. And it was when my TikTok flew as well. So people were like, you don't comment back. I was like, I can't. The computer version didn't let me do it. It just let me upload a video. So it'd be like flying, and people were like trying to message me. I was like, I can't see messages or comments, but I'm thinking about doing that as well, because I honestly, I'll scroll TikTok mindlessly for 2 hours a day. Maybe probably, I don't do it once, but in between things, waiting on buying something, I might watch a fucking TikTok.
Yeah, true. It's all consuming, to be honest. And like I said,
did you think that affected you?
I think so, and I think maybe it's just my own head or whatever. I don't know if it's high standards or I just put a lot of pressure on myself. I just like, I don't know. Like a simple example is like that last competition I did was the Scottish Championships, and I came second, but I didn't perform as well as I wanted to. And my family were all congratulating me and whatever. And we were in the car on the way back. And I just went, look, to be honest, I'm disappointed. Yeah.
Would you come second?
Second, yeah.
What championships was that?
Scottish champs. But
is that coming up again?
No, it's every year. It's every year, so it'll be next year. But and even just like say from a business standpoint and all that, I always think like if Billy, who started in lockdown 2020 after graduating uni, saw you now, he'd be fucking delighted. So shut up. But I can't escape this feeling of feeling like I'm not actually doing that well, and it's really hard to get off, and it really consumes me sometimes. And I unfollowed a lot of people on social media. I'm trying to be better. But even the past few while, I feel like I've been doing better. It comes in waves. But in a way, I don't also hate because the standards I put on myself make me strive to be better. But I wouldn't want other people to feel the way I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like, I do worry about it because it's like, how high do you need to get for it to actually be enough? Which is fucking really deep. But that's how I think sometimes. I worry. I'm like, but that's why I also think, like, I remember having this feeling in lockdown 2020, and I fucked off to Seville for like 2 months when my girlfriend got an internship there. So I just tried to get there. Sometimes I think it's my brain telling me to get a wee refresher. So that's why the Australia thing, and it all kind of came together because me and my girlfriend were talking about it. Then I was going to New Zealand. It all kind of came together. So, and some things weirdly just work out. I don't know if that made any sense. That was a ramble and a half.
No, it was a good ramble though, because it's like stuff I can relate to, because I have the same thoughts. And like, you'll look at things and you'll be like, right, so social media is growing, but I'm still wanting to grow more. But then I'll be like, right, so what do you actually want? Because I don't want 1 million followers on Instagram. I don't want to be stopped in the street all the time. But that's like kind of what you're doing. And it's like, I don't want a big massive house, so why do I care about my income increasing all the time? I actually don't want a big massive house. I know I'd buy it and just be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I don't want a really fancy car. So
I totally get that.
So what are we actually striving for?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not a very fancy person by any means. I knew from early on I didn't really give a fuck about having a house right away. I don't follow the same narrative as like what we're used to in society.
Especially in the UK. You'll find in Australia it's very different as well. See, when I came back, it was like buy a house.
Yeah. It's like live to work, not work to live, almost that sort of idea.
In Australia, I think Aussies won't have the same experience as you about Australia, but when you're someone from the UK going over there, everyone you surround yourself, they work. What was the other way around?
So yeah, we in the UK, you live to work.
Yeah, you work. You work to live. You'll be asked to do stuff all the time. So
you can enjoy your life. Do you know what I mean?
You get asked to do stuff all the time. You don't actually need to make an effort to socialize. It just happens. So you'll come back and your flatmate will just be like, "Do you want to go have a barbecue on the beach?" And you'll be like, "Obviously, yeah, I would rather do that."
But there's much more opportunity to do things that are socially enjoyable, like outside of all this stuff, when you're in a place like that because of the weather and all this stuff.
And it's an absolute myth that you were saying about it being expensive and stuff. Rent's the same.
Compared to the UK now, fucking hell.
Yeah, the UK is an absolute joke. I'm paying 500 quid to go to a wedding. It's in Thurso. Hotel £200. Why is a hotel 100 quid a night in the very top of the country? And then like buying suits and stuff, like the night's gonna be 100 quid, and then getting there and back 500 quid for a wedding.
Fucking the other day down in Birmingham, I went on a night out, and this actually kind of scared me, but went on it was like full day out, to be fair, and it was a cracking day, but I kind of looked at my bank the next morning, I went, oh, I've only spent 90 quid, that's pretty fucking decent. 90 quid. I used to go on a night out and spend like 40, and I'd be like, fuck's sake, what was that? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I know
why is a pint £5.50 now? Why?
£6 sometimes. Like, what is going on? Like, you go, Witherspoon's meant to be cheap. You go to that fucking Spoons in Edinburgh Airport, it's £6 a pint now.
Is it?
Oh, honestly, God, I don't care how happy I'm going on my holiday. I'm fucking raging at that. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I can feel myself turning at my dad more and more every day.
Oh yeah, it's great though, isn't it?
Just like the price of fucking pints.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad's been saying that I remember my dad saying that every time he went to Ireland. He didn't want to go because of the price of the pints.
Yeah, literally. It's just everything is reduced to how much a pint is. Yeah. You know, that's how much. But in terms of like what are we striving for, sort of idea, I think, to be honest, what was I had a thought in my head before, but it's kind of like, I really just want to make sure I have as many experiences as possible before I kick the fucking bucket, which again, we're getting even deeper into now, but that's kind of the baseline of it. That's why I want to travel and do all these things. And for me, everything isn't about how, and the thing is, I get down about sometimes about how much I earn and stuff like that. That really isn't the basis of my life, but I don't know if it just gets ingrained to you. You have to always be progressing. You always have to be getting better. But even, I don't know what's happened this past like few weeks. I really just kind of went, look, I did this. I've got like a little, just a little booklet, and I wrote down Billy's basic factors for happiness. And I just bullet pointed
I
like,
love shit like this.
what do I need just to, like, what do I actually need to be happy? So how much do I need to make? I make more than that. That's fine. What do I need to be able to do every day? What do I enjoy? What's the basic requirement? Friends or family? Okay, all that stuff. And I just look, and when I feel a bit down, I just look at it, I'm like, tick, 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 tick. And then one thing I said at the very bottom, like, if I'm unhappy with any of these, do I have the power to change it? And if I can tick that, which I always can, because you always can, I can. So that's really helped me. And I actually left it for a little bit. I've started looking at it a lot more, and I think whatever it is you need, just make sure to remind yourself of it. And it's weird, man. Sometimes, like you say, you'll be feeling down about your income, and like a client will just pop up randomly out of nowhere, just when you need it. And I always say, and I always try to remind myself, just keep putting the work in, keep showing up, and however much showing up that is, whether it's going to the gym, uploading one video, even when you're feeling shit or whatever it is, and good things will come. Sometimes it doesn't have to be all planned and whatever. I'm not a planner. I've never been a planner. Fuck, I'm going to Australia. I haven't looked at jack shit. I don't care.
Don't just go wing it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I've done.
So just keep putting whatever work you can every day, and it is that 1% that'll all add up. But I think that's the thing with the gym. It breaks all that down so simply. Because if you're just adding 2.5 kilos to the bar or doing one more rep, you're so buzzing about that one more rep, but you are so upset that you don't have an extra 200 grand in the bank when you've not done anything to earn it. And it's such a weird fucking thing.
It's even like stupid things like your mates will maybe message you going how much you think they're making and stuff. It's like, we don't need to have this conversation.
No, this is
because you're asking me because you're triggered, and then you're triggering me. And it's like, just do our own thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. The money thing in the UK is very much like people are scared to talk about money and that. And I know like mates and stuff like that who are doing very well for themselves, and fucking more power to them. But like it isn't all about that, because I'm like, yeah, you might be making X amount, but you're not as happy me day to day. There's everyone's fucking different, man. Like you can have 60k and be fucking miserable. You can be the strongest man alive and be fucking sad as hell. So that's being ultra successful in any field doesn't make you happy. Money definitely makes things easier and all that. That's fair enough. But you see all these fucking unbelievable artists and whatever killing themselves because they're fucking miserable. So there's more to it than that. Do you know what I mean? Do
you know where I learned the most about this? Is that High Performance podcast.
It's class, isn't it?
It's class, but they're all fried, mate.
Yeah.
They're Stephen Hendry's talking about how he like neglected his wife and kids for like 8 years because it was a necessary evil of winning and stuff. And I'm like, right, that's great to hear, because now I know that I was never going to be a snooker champion.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You hear them.
You see the extent these people go to be like that.
Yeah, and you're like, these are miserable people that are chasing this dream, like do the same thing that we're doing. We're just on a smaller level. Yeah. But even like us trying to make a substantial amount of money, if we're not as arsed about it, that's a good thing, because we're not trying to make ourselves happy through that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I always use the Tyson Fury, I think, is the best example for all it. He fucking worked his arse, worked his whole life, became world champ, and was fucking miserable after it because he thought that was the pinnacle of his life. That was everything he ever wanted. Got it, and it was like, is that it? And I've had that moment a few times with different things, and you're like, is that it? And then he plummeted, and he came back because he changed his mindset to what actually mattered. And that's where I think it comes. You have to really figure out, again, like your basic requirements for happiness, but really enjoy those basics. I love going to the gym every day. And you know what? Even today, I think this is where my mindset's changing. I was just sitting there, I was like, I've been able to just fucking come on a random Wednesday, meet someone I've never met, jump on a train to Glasgow and film and record, and I can count this as work. And it's going to give me something, whether people get to know me better, whether I get some followers out, whatever, it's going to benefit me in some way. And even just coming and talking, having a laugh is good for me.
Definitely.
And that's not many people can do that. Yeah. So that's a good fucking day.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and I think, because I love this topic just because it's something me and you'll sit with this every day. Yeah. We'll probably we'll have one thought about this every single day. And I think when I've got to the point where I'm like slower progress, like maybe making a bit more money every now and then and maybe getting a bit better in the gym and stuff like that, I'm actually happier than like exponential progress, flying, because you're actually more stressed and you're actually like not spending any time doing the stuff you actually do, like, because we don't the work we do in terms of like maybe getting clients or getting more money or whatever, that's not enjoyable at all. Like, that's not the enjoyable part.
No, the marketing and shit, I hate that.
Yeah, it's not the enjoyable part at all.
The coaching part is fucking great.
Yeah,
that's so fulfilling.
Getting people results, And then also just being able to spend time, like you have the luxury of going to the gym when you want.
Yeah.
That's what matters, isn't it?
Choose your day.
Yeah, having the freedom to do what you want that makes you happy. And if you have that, then you've got it, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. But I think, I mean, we kind of talked this off the podcast. You mentioned how you were an online PT and you went back to one-to-one. I really think this is a good topic because I actually had someone mention to me the other day, one of my friends was a PT in Edinburgh. And the thing is, everyone thinks like the online coaching life is the dream and every PT is better off being an online coach. It's the best life ever. It's not. Like I've been an online PT since 2020. And I'm looking to do one-to-one PT in Australia purely because being with people, being in front of people, especially when you're a social person, is great. There's a lot of good business aspects from it as well, because like one-to-one and online can be like two separate businesses that combine to your income. But online is not the
wee bit of cash in hand and all.
Yeah. But online is not the Ritz and what everyone thinks it is. It's very isolating. It can be quite lonely. You don't get up and get out. You just roll out your bed and you know, there's people that get up at 6 a.m. all the time are talking shit. You know, you're going and just on your laptop. You're working a desk job, basically, which I never thought I'd work, but I do. I work a desk job.
A lot of the time you're doing admin, mate.
Yeah. And
it's admin. A lot of it's admin work.
Yeah, or you're just writing captions or doing stuff like that rather than just being with the person and really getting that fulfillment of being there with them and having the banter back and forth. You know, so just on that, just if you're a one-to-one PT and think that you have to make it online, you don't. Or have a mix of both, but I can't wait to get back on the gym floor. Mate, in fact, I've never actually been my own business working in a gym.
Have you not?
No.
You've worked for gyms or you've stole business from the gym?
No. I got an employed job in a gym in Edinburgh during uni. I was getting £8 an hour to train this guy's clients, but it was a great experience. But I've only ever done that. I've never actually done it for myself. So that'll be a new journey.
Yeah, you learn from it. It's a completely different thing. I'm not really making money from in person, but it helps.
Up here.
All my money comes from online, but my mental health since I started working in person. I think online PTing is sold the same way like fat loss products are sold, like with business gurus in Dubai. You're not online PTing is not you living in Dubai on your MacBook. No. I can't do work on a beach. I can't see my screen.
That, yeah.
I can't see the laptop.
I can't do
screen.
Fuck all. I need a dark room where I can see fine. Like
I need nobody near me because I won't do any work.
Yeah, you're way more likely to be on the beach working if you're fucking coaching someone on the beach somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's you're probably way more likely to do that at one of these fitness retreats or whatever. Like it's not.
And if you're living in Dubai, you're having to make serious cash to live in Dubai. Serious cash means serious workload. It means 60, 70-hour weeks of you not actually experiencing Dubai. And I think it's really oversold as this like freedom lifestyle. If anything, I feel more free doing in person and doing online on the side because I get to like leave the house.
Well, the thing is as well, freedom, I think a lot of freedom you miss is up here because when do you feel the most free is when you're not thinking about, you're just enjoying what you're doing, right? When you're in one-to-one PT with someone, you're just focused on them and it's just about the conversations and improving them at that moment. You're not on your phone. You're not looking at anything else. You're not thinking about anything else. Your mind is completely focused on this one thing, this really enjoyable thing that you love to do. The same way when you go to the pub, you're just enjoying your time with your friends and whatever. But when you are sitting at your laptop, you're always looking at, you're looking at social media, you're just focused on numbers and you're doing the really boring stuff. And all you're focused on is, it's work. You blatantly know it's work. You don't really get in that flow where you're just like, your mind is completely out of that work zone. One-to-one PT, I can imagine, doesn't feel like work a lot of time because you're just enjoying it with that person.
It would if you do 30, 40 hours a week. Yeah. But the way I've done it is like 5 to 10. I just do the mornings.
Which not everyone has the luxury to do.
No, they don't. So I am coming at this like when I'm saying that I've got the luxury. Do you know what I mean? I've got the luxury of choosing, and I've got the luxury of choosing where.
We also have to work hard to get there.
Yeah, luxury of choosing when I work. But what I would say is, with in person, I'll go there. I'll get up at 6. I'll do 1 or 2 clients between 7 and 8. Sometimes I try and meet all my online clients in person as well. So if they're in Glasgow or surrounding areas, I try to get them in for one session, like at least one session. So I'll meet all of them as well, and then I'll train thereafter. And then I'll honestly might sit there for an hour and just chat to some of the other PTs and stuff. Yeah. And it's like that makes my day. And then I can come back, and I actually get more online work done since I started doing that, even though I've got about 3 or 4 hours less in a day.
I suppose.
breaks it up and I'm happier.
Yeah.
So when I come back to I used to wake up and I've had 30 clients and like I've got 15 messages to get back to. I would start like getting anxious about it. Do you know what I mean? And like I wouldn't be able to get my head into it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I've had a bit of fun, it doesn't feel like work when I go to the gym.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. I really like my clients and stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like work. So I really feel like online's missold. Because it's that thing, as soon as you start PTing, like I remember I only started 2 years ago. So I remember it being like, right, the aim's to be fully online. That's the aim. That's the dream.
Always the goal, yeah.
And
again, once you do it, you're like, is that it?
Yeah. I prefer it the other way.
Yeah. But I mean, the great thing is there's PTs nowadays, I know, especially like a few of the PTs I know, some of them don't even fucking do social media basically. They get all their clients from the gym floor, they're happy as Larry, they make good money, and that suits them. So they still exist.
Yeah.
So if they can still exist, you don't need to just be an online PT to be happy. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you know.
Word of mouth still exists.
Oh, I get all my clients pretty much from word of mouth. I don't even think like, I fucking do all this work on social media. I think word of mouth's the best thing.
Really?
You know what I mean? But I mean, social media helps, but I think, like I said, just don't be missold this dream. And that really comes from experience.
I'm glad someone, because I think a lot of other people I would have on would maybe be like online's great and stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's like a status symbol. Like if you, honestly, and I've found this, if you tell someone you're a PT, you don't get the same reaction if you say, I'm an online PT or I'm an online coach. Suddenly people are like, oh, that's amazing. How you done that? Because you work from a laptop and you go anywhere and They immediately connect to that. So PTs don't, saying you're a PT doesn't get the same attitude. I've actually tested it. I've said I'm a PT, or I'll say I'm an online PT, and you see the reaction you get. So it makes you just think like, I want this status symbol, the same way you want a nice car, or you want this, or you want that to show off. But, you know, I know PTs that are one-to-one PTs, purely one-to-one PTs are making way more money than I am, way happier, all this stuff. So, you know, don't give a fuck about the status symbol. Do what actually works for you, gets you the money you need, makes you happy, all this stuff.
The last thing I would say, touching on that as well, if you're a PT thinking about it, think what made you start PTing and what your personality traits are. Because I was a bartender for quite a while, loved meeting people, loved going out, very extroverted, and I gave myself this dream of doing all, like taking all those things away. Seeing nobody,
you know,
taking all those things away. I moved to London, done like 9-10 months there, spent most of my time in my room, absolutely hated my life, spent all my time making enough money to pay for the rent. Just like when I'm talking about these Dubai things, it's because I've made that mistake. And then moved back home, moved in with my dad, don't own a house. My driving test is in 5 weeks, so I can't drive. I get a 240 bus at the gym every day. I walk 20 minutes there and back. I probably took 5 to 10 grand decrease in money this year. I don't really care about disclosing how much I earn.
That's fair.
And I'm way happier.
Yeah.
Way happier.
Yeah.
I lived in a really nice flat. You could have took pictures out of it. And I would come back every day. 37th floor flat. That doesn't make a dream, right? But a really nice view and stuff. And I would come in and go, I fucking hate everything about the way I'm living life right now.
Yeah. And just to kind of one last thing on that, like you said,
it's such a good topic. Actually, if we want to rant on it, fuck it.
Literally, I'll say this last thing because it's just when you said about the bus. My happiest moment is when I close my laptop, I jump on my little bus, which takes 50 minutes to go to the gym. All I've got is my gym gear and my rucksack on. I step in there, and that's when I'm happiest. The fucking Ritz and the money and all this stuff. Yeah, all that really makes me like most happy in my day is my little gym membership that lets me walk in that door and see the people I really like. So, you know, yeah,
definitely. I think that's so good to hear, especially for people starting out. Because you get a lot, because I'm getting fitness people on PTs. I'll get a lot. It's beginners and PTs listening to it. I actually think it's a lot of PTs. I've noticed I've had over the last like 2 or 3 months getting so many fitness people follow me. So I think it's cause of this and getting fitness people on. So but I think that's so good to hear because it is. And there's probably loads of people out there feeling like that just now and being like, why am I so unhappy with this dream? Yeah.
And it's funny because it's actually just clicked for me there. The reason I really wanted to do online was because my love for fitness comes from training. I love training, always loved it. I wanted to do online so I had more time and more energy just to focus on my own training. Yeah. That's literally the be all, and I can get to do that. So yeah, but a little one-to-one PT would be nice too.
Just shove in 2 to 5 hours a week. Yeah. Get 1 or 2 clients. It's a dream. See if you get 1 or 2 clients that are like you're getting them results and you really like them. They're like mates. Like I've got two in person, and I actually made them train together one session a week, so they know each other as well.
Yeah.
So, and like we just have a laugh. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell some of the stories actually, but like they're just funny and they get on with
bounce
each
off
other.
and that,
Yeah. And it's like your mates. You know what I mean? So it gets to the point where it's your mates. Before we go, I've still got like a topic I want to talk
Go
about
for it.
because I'm still using you for your knowledge.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I've rambled on about so many different
No,
things.
it's class. That conversation was something that I probably needed as well because it's like something I felt really strongly about. With deadlifting, what cues worked for you? So there's been things that people have told me in the past, right? So someone told me about hiding my elbows. So there's, say I've heard like between 10 and 20 cues. It's maybe took me 6 months to understand what someone means for it for a while. What do you think are the main ones that have helped you? Because it's a complicated movement.
The thing is, see, when you tell me that, I just need to demo it. Can I demo it?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll see if I can get the mic somewhere.
Is he going to be able to stand anyway?
I'll just fucking I'll talk to it. No, go for it. All right, okay. Making it very complicated.
No, that's right.
I'll probably go with two, and it's the one I talk about in my coaching tutorial the most. Yeah, one I talk about in the coaching tutorial is the most, and it's two. So I always say just come down. It might be two or three, but I'm just gonna fucking demo it. So you have to anyway. So you come down, get the bar, start your hips a bit higher, get the bar, and I just want you to pull on the bar and get your lats tight. You'll feel that. Then all I want you to do is just bend your knees until you feel really, really tight. You'll feel that tightness come through your whole body because you've pulled on the bar. The minute you feel you're tight enough, you don't need to and this stops people shooting up their hips or anything like that. Just stand up because you'll have enough tightness there to stand up. That'll be it. Just pull on the bar, get the lats tight, start with your hips a wee bit higher and your legs long. Just sit in gradually. You'll find your hips in the right place and you just stand. The tension will already be there. You don't need to jump it. You don't need to do anything. Pull on. So I guess that's three. Start with your hips higher, pull on the bar, and just slowly bring your hips down until you feel it, and you'll stand up. You'll be fine.
So that moment you feel tight, you're in the right position.
You'll feel like you can just stand.
And if you've got a weight that you can lift, it will just come up.
Yeah, and the thing is, that thing that I'm talking about. The thing I talk about when I say pull on the bar to get your lats tight. We all talk about lats tight, but what it does is it does something called pulling the slack out the bar. So before you've even lifted, you've taken tension out the bar and you've brought it onto your body. When you start bringing those hips down, and that's why when I deadlift, I do a little hip, I call it the hip shoot, where I kind of bring my hips in, and I can do it fast now, which I feel gives me a little bit more power. But for beginners, you'll just go. I remember I had a coach that showed me this. Just bring your hips down. You'll feel you're getting tighter and tighter and tighter, almost like an elastic band, and then you'll find that you can just pull it up. You can just stand with it. So yeah.
So when you start the position, and then this is so hard for people listening, obviously, but when you start the position and you're bringing your hips down, you find when you do that faster, you can come up faster?
I think it's just a placebo, to be honest. I don't really think it actually makes too much difference. I think now I can just do it faster because I've got more experience at it and I know where to put my hips. But for someone just learning the deadlift, honestly, I'd say start with your hips high, just grab the bar, get your lats tight, pull on the bar and get your lats tight, but just focus on pulling on the bar, and then just slowly lower your hips. And as you lower your hips, you'll find your chest starts to come up and you'll feel that you're really, really tight. You'll feel like you can lift it. You'll find that point where your hips need to be. And from there, just push yourself, just stand. Honestly, just stand. That's what I think.
Do you think putting your lats or shoulder blades into your back pockets helps as well?
Yeah. Any way that the client or this person will understand it, I say the reason I say pull on the bar is sometimes when you say they put shoulder blades in the back pocket, people don't know. But if I've
found that cue works for people that understand their bodies a bit better. And then I found when I say that to people that are just beginning, they don't have a clue. Yeah. But if you said it to me when I was first learning, I understoed that. But then really some people
just pull their shoulders back a little bit. But what if you
the client she just done like a wriggle?
yeah. Whereas if you tell someone to pull on the bar, don't lift it, just pull on it and keep that pull, they'll have it like this because they've pulled it. And then from there, all you need to do is just slowly lower the hips. And this can work for sumo or conventional. Slowly lower the hips till you feel tight. Stand up. Done.
How long did it take you to feel like you knew what you were doing with it?
Still don't. No. Honestly, with the deadlift, like I say, I've done both. I've worked it both ways. I mean, probably into my by the end of my first year really being powerlifting, I really felt like I knew what I was doing. I could do it to a decent level anyway. But like you can, like I say, it fluctuates. You can relearn bad habits. You can find different ways of doing things. And like I say, it's taken me a bit of time. I've had to work at different things to make my deadlift probably where it is now. But the journey isn't constant, even with technique. Like I said, you will pick things up. You'll try different things. It might not work and you have to rework it. It's not, you should always be willing to learn. It's kind of a shite answer, but it's not as simple of like, oh, you know what you're doing now, you're good, go fuck off and just deadlift for the rest of your life.
Never ever finished.
But you'll get yourself to a good standard. I'd say, like, honestly, you can get yourself to a good standard when like the first 6 months, like to a decent standard. But the heavier you go, your form will start to break down again. You might get in some bad habits, so you have to relearn it all. You know, it's a constant thing. You have to keep. And again, this is the thing about willing to pull back, because if you keep trying to hammer that weight that you're trying to get past, your form will probably start going to shit and you'll pick up bad habits, but then you strip it back and you give yourself the time to relearn to do it properly. So when you get up to that higher weight again, you can do it better.
Everyone you've said, I've like went through that cycle like 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so like I already know exactly what you mean. And the way you described it as just being tight and you'll know, even that's like, I can't wait. Like you said, I can't wait to deadlift.
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
Because I've literally just learned something. That's why I like picking people's brains with stuff like that, because the way I see when you demoed it and I seen what you were talking about with tightening, and I thought in my head when I felt that position, I'm like, I know what he's talking about. Yeah. Now.
Oh, also brace. Remember to brace. For anyone that doesn't know.
So I know bracing myself. I'm actually really bad at explaining it to someone else. Yeah. So if you can explain bracing as well.
Take a big breath in like you're trying to suck in soup, like a big, you can literally hear that. When I explain it in voice notes, this is how I do it. You go, and then just hold it in and tense your core. Like you'll feel like you've got a big ball in your stomach. That's how you should feel. So yeah, again, probably going back to I'm trying to make it good for the listeners, but going back to that, if I could add a cue in, pull on the bar, suck in the soup, big tense your core, lower hips down, you'll feel the tightness, you'll be able to stand up. So yeah, if you brace, it's not going to be as good, but even if you don't brace, you'll still feel that. But bracing helps.
I'm happy with that. I've just learned that. That's my selfish reason for getting you over.
There you go. You can deadlift now.
That was literally worth everything just for that, because I'm excited to deadlift now. Yeah, I'd actually deadlifted yesterday, so I'm gonna have to wait a week.
Don't fuck it.
Yeah, today fucking pull my lap.
Yeah, it'll be like, oh, Billy Smith told me to do this, and now I'm fucking broken shit.
Nah, but it's so good because you explain it so simply, like the way I actually. I don't want to hear any lever
I've always
terms.
Been like that. I'm not going to give you all the fancy get this muscle to do X, Y, Z or anything. It's literally like I've always explained things, even to advanced people. Explain it in the most simple way, because then they'll get it.
Yeah, definitely. You know? Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Where can people find you before we wrap up?
So I'm Instagram and TikTok, and both Billy Smith Fit. I have Facebook, which is Billy Smith Make a Decision Fitness, which is my brand. And then on YouTube, I'm Billy Smith Fitness. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Mostly all to do with lifting and just
your gym vlogs are good. Like anything where you just see you lifting, you're chatting shit.
Yeah. I'm following that trend, but I really enjoy it. And like I said, if you want to come along and see anything to do with lifting, or
I would come along for a session in a heartbeat, like any powerlifting.
That would be
definitely.
Sick. I'd really
fuck
if you want to see that. Really like this. Show that you like that, and we'll take them through a session. I'll rip them apart. Now,
definitely. Thank you, mate.
No, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers.